Hello, everyone. I'm Cameron Deach, CRO at Atlassian, and welcome to the Team 21 conference. I have the pleasure to host today Gulnaz Onesh, who is the CTO at Daimler Trucks. Thanks for joining me, Gulnaz.
Thank you. It's a pleasure.
It's been, I really appreciate you taking the time to share your story with the rest of the Atlassian audience here at Team 21. And today we're talking about a bunch of topics: digital transformation, how it works in a large organization such as yourself, regulated industries, moving to cloud, and of course, how you got to the situation you're in today. So I have a short biography on you, but maybe you can fill in the gaps. So you've started pretty much your entire career in the Daimler family, which obviously is a very large organization, a global organization, starting in sales and then jumping into IT, and then holding executive level roles and technology roles across many different Daimler companies. Today at Daimler Truck, which I believe is you guys build massive the trucking and shipping vehicles. So I'm sure I missed a lot of gaps. Can you fill in a little bit of the details of your career?
Yeah, sure. I mean, one thing common, I always had a passion for cars and for technology. And yes, I started, I'm an engineer. I started in the sales field, but I always engaged myself into the technology, which then let me pave my way in the technology field. So I'm happily leading teams since quite some years, and globally distributed teams. That makes it really the most fun of all, and always working on what is ahead, what is new, and how can we get best out of it for our organization. So that's a great journey. It started in Istanbul, and last 10 years I'm based in Stuttgart, but actually I'm quite mobile. So I work with global teams. So it's I call myself really like a citizen of the world.
Yeah, obviously Daimler, a massive organization, but can you give a little more background on Daimler Truck specifically, just as far as scope and the complexity of the business and how IT supports that complexity?
Yeah, sure. I mean, we are the largest truck manufacturer globally, so I'm really proud to be part of such an organization. And moreover, we really engage ourselves now transforming our industry. So we heavily focus on how can we increase the software and focus, and of course with our autonomous ambitions and also connectivity ambitions and initiatives, we also prove and show how we progress with that. And we have global presence, and we are very much proud to have local brands in every part, but truly also leveraging our global competence. And that's really very much fun to be a part of that large organization who has great ambitions.
Yeah, obviously over the last kind of 20 years that you've seen in across the world, technology has kind of changed how all businesses operate. I think in vehicle world, you can definitely see vehicles 20 years ago, very little electronics and computers. Now it's like you get in these new modern vehicles and it's all computers. It's like basically computers driving the cars for you. But on top of that, everything around the business, which has changed IT's position, right? IT historically was making sure processes in the back end, making sure people get computers and network uptime. But that's all really transitioned to technology is actually empowering competitive differentiation, all business processes. And for your organization, part of your actual value prop to customers, I'm sure, is technology that you're shipping along with your vehicles. Can you talk a little bit how that transition has reflected in your own organization, and for you specifically, from how do you be now completely included in these strategic business initiatives?
Yeah, of course. I mean, as you said, IT was formerly more focusing on enabling more efficiency and really enabling our customer-facing solutions or internally used applications. But as software dominates all and disrupts all industries, IT is an enormously important asset of an organization. Of course, the IT leaders also have then positioned themselves as driving that transformation, acting as change agents. So today, IT has a seat at the table, is a part of the top management team, and driving not only efficiency but also the revenue and the profit targets. To give an example from our organization, besides the IT role and the CIO role, IT in our organization has a full responsibility for a business line for the connectivity area, because the data and the connectivity drives really our industry and our business, and creates a new value chains. And IT has the full P&L responsibility for that area.
Can you share a little more detail? So what exactly is this connectivity offering that you're selling? You're selling this to customers, obviously. What is the value you're providing?
Yeah, we have now thousands of lines of code in our vehicles, and we really, of course, generate a lot of signals and a lot of data points, and these are extremely important then for our customers to optimize their businesses. For example, the fuel consumption, for example, flushing over the air capabilities, for example, transport management, route planning, avoiding breakdowns like predictive maintenance. All of these use cases and capabilities are enabled by the data that are generated by our truck, and by the capability of course, connectivity and cloud and mobile and all of these together. And that's why here IT leaders are a great asset, and they are enabling new business models and new services for our organization.
Interesting. And that's so I'm a big shipping organization. I buy a bunch of vehicles from you, and on top of purchasing the vehicles, I actually pay for this access to all this rich data around my trucks so that I can effectively run my fleet more efficiently.
Correct. You can make a route planning. You can, check your fuel levels. You can, with e-vehicles, for example, it's very important. Check your battery state, battery health. You can get recommendations when to charge. So there are a lot of use cases that helps you out to make your business more profitable.
Very amazing. I'd like to transition to the next, because I think many of our customers out there feel the same way, where also like that you look around and technology, which was enabling the business, now is actually a core part of the business, or is the entire business, which changes how you have to relate to your customers, or your end users, to the other people in the organization. One thing that we've seen also happening kind of the last 20 years, and it's not new, is kind of the transition from traditional on-prem technology to cloud-based offerings, whether that's infrastructure as a service, where everyone's taking their old infrastructure and putting on these modern cloud platforms, or enabling their products through or technology through software as a service. And obviously that's a big transition that you're layering on top of a technology transition with all this transition to driving bigger business initiatives. What does Daimler Truck think about the cloud in general? How do you break down software as a service versus infrastructure as a service? And personally, how do you see cloud enabling what you're trying to achieve in your role?
Yeah, I mean, cloud technologies are critical key enablers for business transformation in any business, because it really helps to have easy and fast access to the products and services. And moreover, it helps to optimize your operational costs. It brings a lot of high degree of automation and operational capability and so on. So it's countless, advantages you have. So having a cloud in the agenda for a CIO or CTO is not having it is unthinkable. Yeah. So of course we all pursue a cloud first strategy. It is not easy though to leverage the full potential, because we have a diverse landscape, and of course not all our applications are ready, and also we have data security concerns. We of course have a responsibility towards our customers, so we really need to treat the data very consciously and responsibly. That's why we're not yet we're not yet where we dream to be, where we aspire to be, but we are passionately pushing towards that direction. I as well have a cloud first program where I'm on one hand building in-house competence to manage those cloud technologies. On the other hand, having a cloud migration program, helping the teams doing this journey, helping them in their journey to migrate. And us also, on one hand, working on processes, because as large enterprises, we have very strict policies and procedures in place, because there's a reputation we have to protect towards our customers. And then we work on how can we have really lean but effective processes that help us to make the best risk assessment, so that we can get the best of cloud where we can, where we should, and that we know where we have to be a bit more careful. So this is kind of really a continuous focus is what you have to set to succeed in that journey.
Yeah, and I would love you to dive into a little bit deeper on those processes with us, because many Atlassian customers today have exactly the same approach. They'll have this cloud first mandate from on high, but they're balancing that with a large historic investment of on-prem technology that they've customized and tuned and optimized for many business processes. And then there's the whole customer regulatory, protection side of those things. And you have to balance all those against each other. And I'd love to see is there any general guidance you'd give? I think many Atlassian customers are trying to balance those two pieces. So, we go cloud first, but we need to balance it with everything else from our customers to regulatory and so on. Can you share any guidance as far as what you've done to make that balance clearer, frameworks you use to weigh those trade-offs, so that at least when this comes in, it's not like every new cloud technology is something you have to start from scratch?
Yeah, I have established a virtual team, which is really acting as a community from the different cloud experts in the organization, and this small team acting like swarm, and they are defining those like playbooks, they are acting as consultants to help the team, and they are also a lot working with me on increasing the appetite for going for cloud. But at the same time, we have very close collaboration with our legal and compliance colleagues as a small team. And here, what's very important is to establish a small circle in the organization from the believers and from the enthusiasts, and then really respecting each other's territory. Like one has to ensure the legal side, the other one has to go for the cloud with passion, and really out of this good expertise, defining some lean ways how to help those teams to take the right risks and to leverage this opportunity as much as possible. So joining forces, building small teams, and really acting and keeping a continuous focus. I think these are the key success factors.
And how do you set goals for that kind of cross-functional team? It's like, I'm assuming it's more detailed than make sure everything goes to the cloud. Like, how do you measure their outcomes on a regular basis? What are the objectives you're setting for them?
Yeah, so we are regularly tracking what is the rate of cloud adoption. So we have also an architecture joint team, another virtual team, so which are counter-helping to each other. And we have a very good understanding of our applications, our architecture, and our landscape. And we know where we are adopting cloud, where not. And we are continuously tracking our progress in the cloud migration. And that is, of course, giving us, on one hand, aspiration and motivation to continue. On the other hand, the teams are also learning from each other. So this community is continuously increasing their knowledge about and developing themselves.
Do you have any recent successes, any major transitions? I realize you're still using many of Atlassian's on-prem products, but other technology that you've been able to move to the cloud and seeing a measurable success in the business?
We have a lot of solutions on the cloud. I don't want to now mean we are not at cloud at all. No, we have really, for example, our connectivity solution we're operating 24/7 on cloud, business critical solution. We have a lot of business critical solutions, actually, our commerce platforms and a lot of platforms. We already adopt cloud a lot, but we want to do more and more. And when it comes to Atlassian products, we started more rather on-prem, but there also we are now really looking in the direction of cloud. Because we have more and more adoption of these collaboration tools, and because of the amount of agile working teams really dramatically increasing, and also we are much more collaborating globally, and the expectation from the performance and the demand number of users and all of these are exceeding, and we really need modern, reliable solutions, collaboration tool chains, and so on. And here, that's why we also are looking in the direction of moving to the cloud with Atlassian products.
Yeah, I think that's a perfect transition to my next, because we discussed how the role of IT's changed in your business and how cloud is enabling that. But a lot of this comes down to just how you're changing how you work, how people collaborate and work together. Obviously, Agile is driving a lot of that transition in the last 10 to 15 years from a technology perspective. But the last year, with all of us effectively going remote and working from home, and largely having to figure out new ways to work together, I'd love to dive in with that and how that's affected you. So can you tell about, we're about 15, 14 months into this global pandemic where we all had to go home. Can you walk me through, what was that transition at Daimler Truck? Did you all just go home and everything worked, or did you actually have to figure out a bunch of new ways to work together?
No, that's exactly. First of all, the very first week was a bit of a shock. I think we had a a week of time on trying to reflect on it and planning what are the next steps. But the second week onwards, we were really perfectly on spot and able to work, and we got a lot of recognition from our business teams, for us, for the IT teams, that how our platforms helped us to continue as before. And we didn't have a really business interruption due to our really workplace solutions. And that was a great moment also for us, getting the recognition on one hand, on the other hand, really proving the value of the business models, online business models, the digital business models, the digital collaboration tools, and that we really can do a lot remotely. And also giving us, of course, the chance to prove the investments are done for good, and we should invest even more for that.
That's great. And you should be proud that continued to operate that way. It's I'm sure that many different CIOs and CTOs out there have had various experiences through that transition. But I assume that over the last year, you have changed things, for the better or for the worse, but processes have just changed in general about how you collaborate. And as things start to open up, hopefully sooner than later, are there anything that you, from a process or communication or collaboration change that you've made that you plan to keep once world gets back to the quote normal?
Yeah, exactly, definitely. I mean, of course, I talked a bit about the bright side of it, but there is the bitter side as well. Yeah, so all individuals are affected, and we miss our teams, right? It had a big hit on our team spirit. The creating an identity for the organization and maintaining that, and these were all very negatively affected. That's why we had to act on it, and we acted on it, and we have developed solutions, new solutions, to really keep the team spirit in place. We have, of course, done a lot of things to mimic our ceremonies, routines, meetups on a virtual mode. So these are like no-brainers, right? So, for example, if we had a person joining new to the team, we have a welcome breakfast. Okay, we had that online. We had an online welcome breakfast. Or we had the onboarding process. Yeah, so instead of having that at the desk of the person, now sent to the home a week ago, and so a lot of processes we had to change. But we had to also invent some fun games, really to keep the team entertained and social, because you don't have those coffee breaks anymore or water cooler moments anymore. So you need to really find some more occasions that you can really interact outside of the business content, and that's why we created such meetings. But also we have we want certain things to remain, because we've seen a lot of advantages of it creates more inclusiveness, and because it's really like more you can tap into more talent pools, because once you work remote, and you can really look beyond your location to get certain skill sets and so on. So having those skills and processes in place as an organization to welcome more people also remotely is a great asset, and this is what we want to keep. And we have also defined some HR policies and guidelines about remote working, because we wanted certain things also to be, I don't want to say regulated, but a bit guided, having some rules, I don't know, putting the camera on and giving some space for this, having breaks, and respecting private time, so that we show that we respect our people also in the remote working mode. And those things are exactly the things which we plan to keep.
That's fantastic. Is there any one thing out of all of that you would share with the rest of the Atlassian audience here, that, hey, if there's one thing that's worked really well for your organization to cope with this change that they could take home and implement, what would that be?
Oh, I mean, there's just plenty, but I think having really like those virtual fun topics was fun. Yeah. So for example, with my team, we had like a Christmas event. Then we had also in my yesterday, actually, I had my leadership offsite, again remote. It's not an offsite. I call it offsite, but yes, it's not an offsite anymore. Event, and there we played a game. I mean, we made a guessing game of the leaders from their childhood pictures. Yeah, so really mixing a bit of a human side to the whole context, and this is what is really important to keep us together and have some more empathy and fun working with each other. But I'm also very interested in how do you do that, so I'm curious to learn from you as well.
Well, yeah, the great news was Atlassian always was this global organization. You know, I live in San Francisco. My boss lives in Sydney, Australia. Like, we always had a very, you know, in general, every meeting you're in, there's usually someone who is dialing in or coming from a screen. And then we actually had acquired a company in the past, a company called Trello, that was a remote first company that multiple years ago kind of brought in this remote first culture and practices to Atlassian. The things that I personally have really started appreciating within Atlassian, one of the challenges we faced was this never-ending stop of screen time on Zoom, right? You had like these hour-long meetings on Zoom, no break, straight into another hour-long meeting on Zoom. And you just would go through 9 or 10 hours a day just at the screen with no gaps at all. One thing we stopped, what we started implementing was start 5 minutes after the top of the hour, right? Every meeting started 9:05 or 10:05. Those times would be normally if you're in an office, when you transition to another office or a conference room, or you go grab a cup of coffee. Just those little tiny gaps just allows you to decompress a little bit, clear your mind, and be ready for the next meeting. And it's amazing what a 5-minute gap helps, just makes everyone better in the next meeting. The other is we've really tried to walk away from presentations where we're, you know, sharing keynote slides or PowerPoint slides on a Zoom screen where everyone's staring at the screen once again. And we've really gone to pre-reads where, you know, I can print out content or put it on my tablet, and we start the meeting where video's off and everyone reads the content, you know, whether it's a 1-pager or a 6-pager or whatever, we read the content we're going to discuss. Then we come back and have a rich discussion versus just watching slides go by on the screen. We found that, one, we get much deeper understanding by sharing all that information. And we also, the discussion is much deeper because you really get to the heart of the issues because everyone has much more depth. The last piece is Atlassian is embraced this largely from a talent perspective. We have a program called Team Anywhere where we have communicated to all of our employees that they never have to go back to the office. And moreover, that we are going to open up where we will hire globally. We believe that, while we have these main arteries, around Sydney and San Francisco, Mountain View, Austin, Texas, and around the world, we realize that there's plenty of areas and great developers and go-to-market staff and you name it that are, potentially in countries or nowhere near the cities where our offices are, that once you embrace remote first, really opens up that talent pool. So we're very, very excited that we'll be able to potentially, get a new swath of talent that we never would have been able to expose to before. And I think that potential opportunity for our business is gigantic.
Yeah, fully agree.
Yeah. Okay, we got the closing. I got some pretty quick questions at the end here. You can take as long as you like to answer them, but the one is, what's the biggest challenge you face at Daimler Truck as the CTO? As a technical executive, like what's the biggest thing that you deal with every day?
Yeah, the biggest thing is really the war of talent. So because we need to disrupt, but at the same time, we need to leverage our core competence. So to be attractive, to get the best talent out from the market, and while software is defining, disrupting every industry, is also the same challenge for us in our organization, but we're doing our best in that.
Great. And is there anything that would surprise people on the screen that they don't know about your organization?
Yeah, I can give one example, which has surprised me when I joined from the financial services part to the trucks part. I learned that I'm highly encouraged to certify myself for a truck driver license. So how amazing is that? Actually, it's very interesting because I'm really interested to try out those great products that we produce, but still I'm having quite some moments to visualize myself driving that huge truck.
That would be fun. Do you have a big facility out at Stuttgart where you do all the certifications, and like, do you have a whole test driving facility that you'll go to?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, you have to go the full way. Yeah, really getting the official truck driver license. Yeah. So this
That's
is
fantastic.
What we are encouraged for. I'm also looking forward to it, but I have to wait until the pandemic is over.
Oh, soon enough. I hope to see some pictures of you drive one of those big rigs one of these days.
Me too.
Gulnaz, once again, thank you so much for your time today and sharing your story with everyone here at Team 21. And I hope everyone has a great day.
Thank you. It was fun.
Thank you.